I know you want me, so don't keep saying our hands are tied. You claim it's not in the cards, fate is pulling you miles away and out of reach from me. But you're here in my heart, so who can stop me if I decide that you're my death? I was meant to find. It's up to you, and it's up to me. No one can say what we get to be, so why don't we rewrite the stars? Maybe the world could be ours tonight.
You think it's easy?
One family, one radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Join our amazing news team as they dissect trending topics in politics, health, education, business, and many more. Live every day at 7:30 till 9 a.m. on 92.7 Super FM, your one family, one radio station. Spotlight on 92.7. It's spot on.
All right, it's 8 o'clock. The time to get ready for Spotlight on Super FM 92.7. Boy, am I happy to be here. Am I happy? Am I happy to be here? Today we're going to taxation in Nigeria. The focus on the 15 naira levy on fintech, although we hear that the deadline has been extended, but then it's still, looking like it's going to take effect. And we're going to have our guest who's a banker and financial analyst, Timi Okuselu. That's the yes. And then Joseph Olaoluwa will be joining us shortly on the program as well. He's a business journalist and economic affairs analyst. So just a brief overview. Yeah, both of them connected to us right now. Wow. Okay, then it's going to be a hot one. So the federal government's recent introduction of a levy on points of sale transactions, alongside former Vice President Atiku Abubakar's recent comments on VAT and tax reforms, has stirred debate on the issue of multiple taxation in Nigeria. These measures are seen as an attempt to increase government revenue, but they also raise concerns about the potential negative impact on small businesses, that's the SMEs, and households across the country. For everyday consumers, the POS levy increases the cost of making payments, which disproportionately affects low-income households, like I said earlier, that are already grappling with high inflation. According to the former vice president, what he had to say, Abiodun said the current tax structure, which involves federal, state, local government taxes, creates a heavy burden on SMEs. We hear of taxes back and forth, multiple taxation in the country. So we're going to be looking at that holistically with our guests. You have something to say?
Yes. I think that Atiku Abubakar makes an important point. There are so many ways to look at it. I'm sure that there will be many people who disagree with him, and for some simple reasons. There's this drive for IGL, like we like to call it, Lagos model, internally generated revenue. And some who had a helm of a fear think that that's the best approach, tax the people. And for those who were not already being taxed, they talk about increasing the tax bracket and all of that. I think that, of course, that's a good drive, and they'd like to point to some other countries where that is being done. I mean, they mentioned the example of the UK, for example, where you have so many Nigerians. They use your tax to provide social amenities. Yes, that's the right thing. But when you look at the economic situation of so many people, do you think that you'll be taxing the people more or maybe reducing the tax burden? That's an argument that I believe some of our analysts would
Don't forget
provide
about the
answers to.
electricity
I mean,
tariff as well.
there's just a whole lot of them.
Yes. All right, then. Welcome, Timmy. Good to have you. And Joseph Olaoluwa, good to have you both on the program. Can you hear me? Sometimes we struggle with that. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good morning. Good morning, Olaoluwa. And good morning, Abiodun.
Kimberly. Yes, my name is actually Kimberly. Your name is Olaoluwa. All right, so welcome.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay, so let me ask Timmy first, who's an economist, a banker. Timmy, what do you think about this new levy on electronic money transfer introduced by the federal government?
Well, it has always been in existence, but only for commercial banks and traditional banks. And we have a lot of people patronizing these banks already. and we always see complaints. When people do transfers, when they get deposit into their account, and there are some little charges here and there. And when fintechs came in, into the banking system, I mean financial technology, when it came in, and we started having all these mobile banking and digital banking, there was really no charges, and a lot of people, diverted, their banking transactions to fintechs. A lot of people. So the fintechs got a lot of patronages, from people, because people were running away from, all those little charges that people thought it was the traditional or commercial banks that were taking them, not knowing that, some of those charges were for the federal government.
Okay, now.
So it's just very fair that both the fintechs and now the commercial banks are now, being taxed, are getting those tax policies.
All right. So before we move on to Joshua, we need you to please break this down. What does this, levy mean? Is it saying that Nigerians will have to pay 15 naira more? Is the bronze going to be on the end users? What exactly does it mean? Who are the fintech companies, by the way?
I don't know if I can mention names, but we all know them. The likes of OPay, PamPay,
yes.
And the likes. Yeah, they are the fintechs, and they've actually enjoyed the fact that they have free services, almost free services for their customers. Meanwhile, banks have, the ANC, they have VAT, they have, a whole lot of charges, little charges, aside from the SMS charges and the likes. So now that fintechs are being, are taken into consideration, people do not have any choice now. It's just like as they were banking with traditional and commercial banks, they are banking, the same system is applied to fintechs. So there's really no difference now. Well, you might say that this is a lot of tax on people, but when you look at it, it was very unfair to commercial banks, because it looks as if that the commercial and traditional banks are being taxed while the fintechs are running away, with all those taxes. So now it's a fair game, but you might say that the people are disadvantaged. There are more taxes now. People that are very poor now, are still getting more and more taxed, except the government now takes those taxes both from the commercial banks and from the fintechs. So we know that all those charges are not there. All those stamp duty, VAT, and the likes, they are not there again. Then we can say that, okay, government is putting the people into consideration, because tax is a form of revenue generation income for the government. You now start thinking, okay, if they are not getting those revenue, where would they get it from?
Okay. All right, Olaoluwa, I'm going to ask you the same question. Before we say anything else, let's get your thoughts, and then Abiodun will follow up. What do you think about this, the introduction of the new levy on electronic money transfer?
Well, like my co-panelist said, it's been in existence for 2 years. It just became apparent now. But the issue really is not the fact that there are taxes on it's not that there are taxes. I mean, we usually pay taxes before. The problem is that there are taxes in 2024 at this point in time where inflation is high, interest rates are high, and there's not so much economic activity in the country as it used to be.
Okay, so you have an issue with the time? It's difficult to hear you. Do you think the time that this is introduced is a problem? You're breaking up there. All right, we'll try to reconnect with Olaoluwa. Olaoluwa, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, please go on. It was difficult to hear you at some point.
So I said that the issue with receiving taxes at this point in time is the fact that we are still at a very the constant in the economy whereby it's harder to do business. Money is not coming as much as it used to. And so taxing POS at this point in time is a little bit
Going on in the country, is this the right time to introduce the levy for fintechs?
Oh, okay. Well, for me personally, it's not the best. That's why I said it would be fair if they remove, instead of including the fintechs, they should remove the tax, the electronic tax from also the commercial banks and traditional banks. Right now, people are managing. Like, there's a lot of managing in the country. Some could barely eat twice a day, and when they request maybe from their family members, their relatives, their uncles, for money, and they want to get it from maybe a point of sales, a POS point, or maybe they even want to just transfer to a seller, a retailer, or just fend for themselves. These taxes are removed, and it actually reduces their purchasing power. And now things are very, very expensive, like food, clothing, transportation, because we have transportation guys that are receiving transfers now. So right now there's a lot of patronage of digital banking and the likes. People hardly hold cash, and if
go on.
hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so if you are discouraging people, from, that means a lot of people will want to be holding their cash instead of, using the banks, and we are actually going back to the 90s, to the 80s, to the 70s. So this is not the best time. I think the government should review this and probably just remove it both on the traditional and commercial banks and also the fintechs. They should reverse it.
All right, Abiodun. Questions?
All right, Timmy, just before we come back to Joseph again, do you think that with this new levy, because I saw a lot of complaints from the newly adopted customers of the fintech, there was a lot of drive even from 2022 into 2023, especially with the cashless policy of Godwin Emefiele at the time. A lot of people started to adopt the fintechs when we had cash scarcity towards the general elections. So do you think that maybe this may spur some of those customers to say, okay, since the fintechs no longer offer the benefit and advantage that they offered, some 2 years or 1 year ago, maybe we should just go back to our traditional banks? Do you think that there's a tendency that this may affect the customer base of the fintech in a way?
Every business are set up to make profit, and one of the advantage that fintechs got when they came into the banking system was that they almost had zero charges on their platform, and a whole lot of people diverted their banking transactions. They accepted it wholeheartedly. So imagine this continues. Banks need to run. Banks have physical branches almost everywhere, but these fintechs hardly have offices everywhere. Then, it's just now that they are trying to, put their offices in some major places. So I feel this tax burden would be on their customers, because if you are saying that they should maybe absorb the burden and not put it on their customers because of the economic situation, they might not be able to have that. How will I put it? They might not be able to have that. They might not be able to stand for a long period. It might run down their company. Because they need to at least share the burden with the customer so that they can continue to run. I don't know if you get me.
Yeah, we're listening.
Yeah, so saying that they should not put the burden on the customers might be because they are not as strong as commercial banks who have been in existence for 10, 15, 20 years. First Bank is like 130 years. We have banks that are like 50, 60 years old already. So fintechs are just coming in, and they do not have that, large base already. They don't have that stronghold. So they might not be able to just absorb the tax burden and not pass it down to the customers. So that might affect them internally.
Okay, looking at multiple taxation, duplication of taxes, levied by different levels of government in the country. What do you have to say about that? What impact do you think this has on households in Nigeria and also small businesses, entrepreneurs?
I've never been a fan of, multiple taxation policies because, especially for a developing economy, and that is even arguable, because is Nigeria really developing, or is it an undeveloped economy? So, like the words of Peter Obi, who said, you can't tax the poor. The best way to tax people is when you make them richer and you can tax them. But is the government actually are they providing an enabling environment for businesses to grow, for people to, create businesses, to be able to generate income for themselves so that they can be taxed? That's a question for this current government. I don't think they are doing that. So multiple taxation can only make, the people poorer. A lot of people are not employed. A lot of businesses are not scaling at the moment, and you are taxing them. So it's quite a harsh policy, because the businesses will factor in the tax, and their final product prices will be on the high side because they want to survive. So I am actually not a fan of this fiscal policy for income generation. I believe there are other policies, other ideas that the government can embark on that will generate income for them, and it will provide employment for the people. It will provide enabling environment for businesses to grow. It will provide employment for people to generate salaries, income. And, the government can now, on the long run, think of way to, get income from the well-meaning Nigerians, after they've, attained a certain level of wealth. Exactly. I think we need to start thinking of how to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor. Not just make the rich richer and the poor poorer. Exactly. So I'm actually not a fan of multiple taxation policies.
All right.
It's highly discouraging. Currently the people are not happy. There's harsh we are under harsh economic conditions. Yeah. A lot of people are privileged, and a lot of people, there's no middle class any longer. It's either you are rich or poor. So this multiple taxation, is nothing to write home about for me personally. And I think government, people in power need to have a second thought about this.
All right.
Or other alternative ideas that can, make the people richer. Even not as rich, just let them afford basic things like housing, shelter, food, clothing. Let them be able to move around easily. The transportation system in Lagos and everywhere is highly expensive.
All right, Timmy, just hold that thought there. So we need to get Joseph on this as well. Then we'll come back to you. Just a moment. Yeah, Joseph, please confirm if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So I'm sure you heard some of the things that Timmy said while he was making his own contribution to the taxation debate. And I know that you wanted to say some things before the network got bad. So I'll just add this to the answer you wanted to provide to your question. Timmy was talking about not being in support of the taxation, especially with the new fintech levy. I don't know if you agree or disagree with that. I also asked him a question about the customer base of this fintech. Are we going to have a situation where some of them will move back to the traditional banks because the fintechs no longer offer any advantage or value in that sense? What do you think?
Well, so when it comes to taxation, taxation is a normal thing that will happen. The problem is just that if you are being taxed for the value that you are giving, right? And as at my last count, I record that Nigerians do more than 6 taxes. in the country. You pay company income tax, you pay national tax, you pay education tax, you pay police levy tax, you pay quite a number of taxes, right? You even pay capital gains tax. That's for people that probably invest in. So, or in stocks. So, and then this is now probably maybe the 6th or 7th. No, this is probably the 7th or 8th tax now that has been introduced, alongside VAT and other taxes that we pay for consumption tax and everything. And so the question is, all these 7 taxes or 8 taxes we've paid, like, where has that money been? Where's the accountability there? Where's the, why do we have to add another level of tax? Because when we talk about taxing the POS people are some of the closest people to financial inclusion. So they're closer to people on the ground level, right? And so if you're making it hard,
just a moment. You said the POS people are closest people to the people on the ground in terms of financial inclusion. I thought that system was a flaw, because we have the POS system because the ATMs are not functioning. Don't you think that that's a flaw? Do you think that is supposed to be an innovation to be praised? I thought this was supposed to be a misnomer, an anomaly.
So I mean, there are two answers. There's a yes or no answer to it. I mean, in one and you can say that the POS was enabled by the same financial system that should have not allowed the POS to stay in the first place. But if you look at the other parts of the financial inclusion, today we have 64% financial inclusion. Part of what made that work was because of the cash crunch, COVID, and POS. So it's good and bad in a way. So we cannot analyze it to be completely wrong and bad. Although everybody holds their own part, because if you look at it now, the POS now, Wema Bank has their POS, Zenith Bank have their POS, almost every bank have their POS, right? And so these are the same financial institutions that are also having their own POS alongside the ATM, right? And so you need to look at it in this dual manner. All right, so I would say that for one, they help financial inclusion. For two, I mean, the POS people actually, sometimes they can be overzealous. They can overcharge you. I mean, nowadays, it's hard to have 100. I think I was trying to travel to Osun State last week, and I saw that the charges were 150. Right? And people were screaming, "Why is it charged 150? It's not 100 there for 0 to 5,000." And we couldn't do anything because that's just what we had to deal with. And this levy has begun on September 9th, right? And so people will begin to have surprises at the end of transactions, whereby some of them might not be able to collect money. Some of them might be surprised that there's a new change, and they might refuse to collect money. So it kills the financial inclusion drive again.
Yeah, but don't you think that this drives us further towards the cashless economy in that sense? Because if people are unable to deal with cash, physical money, it means that they will resort to electronic means. Don't you think that maybe this may serve as some advantage in a way?
So to be fair, and we are going to the next wave of arguments. Now, the next wave of payments is not POS or ATM. The next wave of payments is contactless payments, right? I've argued about that before in a write-up about how contactless payments should be the future of payments for small ticket items, right? But the technology for contactless payments is still coming in. So contactless payments works with NFC. Or on your cards, you already have NFC, but not everybody's phones have NFC. But then to even think about the NFC and the near-field technology, all of these things are big man language. For people that are at the lowest level, many of them don't know what NFC means. Many of them don't know how it works or what contactless payment means, right? So there's going to be a lot of education for us to get to that level, which will probably take another 1 or 2 years again before we get to that contactless payments level, which will then make us fully cashless at the point. But then everything in financial inclusion is actually in phases, right? Phases, first cash. Cash will never be phased out, right? And then we move from cash to cards, and then we move from cards to transfer, and then move from transfer to POS. People have arguments for and against, but then they still help in the final inclusion. At the final level is contactless payments, where we will no longer need cash again. But that will need a lot of things to be in place: infrastructure, light, commitment, government help, all of those things.
All right. Before I ask Joshua a question, Biodu, I can tell that you're in the mood for a debate. This is not necessarily a debate. This is Spotlight.
Yeah,
We're sampling opinions, and we've gotten contributions of our great analysts so far on the program. You too can be a part of it. Your opinion counts and matters. We want to hear from you. 0805 092 0927. That's 0805 092 0927. Your thoughts on taxation in Nigeria. What do you have to say? And some recommendations you may have, contributions. All right, Joshua. So there's a report that tech giants like Google, Facebook. Facebook is a tech giant too, right? Yeah. So Netflix and other foreign companies operating in Nigeria paid 2.55 trillion naira in taxes to the federal government in the first 6 months of this year. I want to get your thoughts on this. This is according to a data collated from the National Bureau of Statistics, by the way. So what do you think about this? I mean, the amount of taxes that has been paid by foreign companies operating in the country so far. Make of it what you will, Joshua. Joshua, are you still with us? All right, Timmy.
Is it Joshua?
Joseph, please go ahead.
Yes, I'm here.
I was shocked. I thought that someone else was being called. They've paid, I think, 2 billion. I think I'm also
2.5
looking at, I saw the
trillion,
same
not
story this
billion.
morning.
Trillion, please.
Trillion.
Yeah.
In taxes. And if you look at that story, it says that they are from company income tax and value added tax, right? And that was the argument I was making earlier. That we already pay. And so usually foreign companies have to pay some amount of money for operating in Nigeria. And that is deducted under different tiers. Some of them can be CIT, company income tax, some of them can be VAT, or whatever the government distinguishes as what they should collect. If you look at also the POS tax too as well, that last year they made some money from that. So nearly, I think they surpassed the target last year too as well. I don't think there's anything wrong in paying taxes, right? And I have to reiterate again, there's nothing wrong in paying taxes, right? The issue with taxes is that if someone is paying taxes, people need to see the value for what they are paying for, right? Mm-hmm. That's going to make people more committed to paying those taxes. If foreign companies are paying that much amount of money, where's the accountability? What was the money used for? Did the money also make them continue to invest in Nigeria? Because we're asking for more investments. I was saying people pay taxes. That money that they are paying, are they seeing the value for their money? Are we seeing the value for our money? Are we seeing the money work in our country?
All right. Hold that thought, Joshua. Yeah, we'll come back to talk some more. Stay with us on Spotlight.
Radio Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super
900927. We still have Timmy and Joseph on the line with us. Our analyst on the program. Timmy is a banker, an economist and financial analyst. Joseph is a business journalist and economic affairs analyst. Okay, now this question is for you, Timmy. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, then. So how do you foresee the current tax structure? What impact, I beg your pardon, do you foresee the current tax structure having on the informal sector?
How do we foresee current
what impact do you foresee the current tax structure in Nigeria having on the informal sector? Like what impact progressively? Where is it going to
I don't think anything will change. Just that the people would have to adjust. I mean, both the business and the people, the fintechs, they will need to adjust, their system, and also the people will also need to adjust. I don't know. Abiodun was asking my co-analyst earlier, are the people going to switch back to traditional commercial banks? It's their choice because now there's pretty much no difference between both banking systems now. Because even a whole lot of traditional commercial banks are now, almost like the fintechs, because of technology. We are in that age. If you do not adopt technology, you become obsolete. So, future speaking, everybody will need to adjust. And it's like the government are not changing anytime soon. This is their focus. So the people, the business, everybody would have to adjust to the current trend.
All right, Joseph, I'm going to ask you the same question. Are you with us? Hello, Joseph.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so where do you see this current tax structure taking us now? I mean, going forward, it will continue on this path. What impact do you think is going to have on the informal sector? On Nigerians generally, even?
Well, one, the impact is that government will make more money. And that's even the goal of the tax in the first place, to increase the money. If you look at a link I was sharing earlier, the government's already made 180 billion from this kind of situation, from this EMTL levies in 2023. It surpassed the target of what it made of 136 billion, so they will make more money. For people on the ground, they will struggle to understand the new realities of why they are being charged extra. We should note that this 15 naira extra levy, it's on 10,000 and above, so it's not on 5,000, so it's actually on 10,000 and above. So the question would be that, well, probably people that are withdrawing higher would have to pay more. Could also reduce financial inclusion or trust, because the reason why you are bringing people into the financial system is like you're telling them that, hey, if you come in.
No, Joshua, I'm sorry to jump in there. You didn't get the question. Maybe it wasn't framed properly. So the thing is, the current, multiple taxation, duplication of taxes, we have that structure now in the country. So how do you see this impacting Nigerians on the long term? What do you think the long term impact is if we continue on this path?
For multiple taxation, I do not think that there's anything to change the multiple taxation, except maybe a new policies.
Don't forget the
introduced.
electricity tariff and every other thing. Taxing is not just peculiar to POS levies. I'm sure you know that already. So it's like a lot
Yes.
of, other things that have to come into play for small business owners, entrepreneurs in the country, and even Nigerians generally. So what do you think this means long term for the country's economy and for Nigerians?
Yeah, what it will mean long term for all of this taxation is that people will probably stop using financial system, and people will start looking for ways to cut costs. What that would mean in the long term is that people that are relying on financial systems, like maybe banks or POS, may lose customers, and maybe we have to start closing up. Like we saw in the scarcity time, when it got really hard for people, they started just exchanging cash among themselves, doing like trade by barter kind of, this kind of trade by barter pattern, right? So if it becomes too expensive for people to use a particular service, people usually like tune off or drop down from the service and go back to informal ways of doing things, right? Because we are still human beings anyway. And so I feel that if the taxation is too much, people will stop using the financial system. They could stop it at some level, at some point, and then the government, the banks that are hoping to get money from those things, they stop getting the money. The government doesn't get their money as well, and everybody just goes down to informal. Do you have cash? I have cash. Can we change? Can we move?
Do you have
this
rice for beans? Trade by barter. Okay, go on. We can hear you.
Yeah, so that's what I foresee. If it becomes too expensive, people would go just like inflation is making people to choose other alternatives. Oh, you probably use Harpic before, now you're using maybe another brand. You just change your brands and come to the lowest brand. But people are using foreign rice, or they move to local rice, that kind of thing. So if the taxation is a lot for people, I mean, you already see it in VAT already. The VAT and consumption tax is charged on the food that you go and eat outside. That's the restaurants that you go outside. People just said, "Oh, restaurant is too expensive. Let me start cooking at home." Right. So like that way, so people keep to reduce. Like it just comes down like, oh, if financial service is too expensive for me, then let us be doing the. Oh, do you have cash? My neighbor. Oh, my neighbor have cash. So let's just move the cash like this.
All right, Abiodun, do you see this further pushing Nigerians into poverty? Like, I think the former Vice President Atiku made mention of something like that. Because if you check, some people are already cooking with firewoods. Not even in mud houses or, plank houses, in actual block homes. Some people at night go out with firewoods to cook. That's the level of, how everything compiles together
yes.
and makes it difficult for Nigeria.
Yes, I understand that. But in the sense of pushing people further into poverty, that is still it's subject to some arguments, because I think that what we may be dealing with here is recency bias, in the sense that this is not the first time that some taxes or levies have been introduced on the people. And I think that for this one, the impact may be minimal. That's my opinion.
No. We're not turning it down alone to this. We're looking at multiple taxation.
Okay, multiple. Okay. I thought you were referring specifically. Yes.
Everything happening that Nigerians have to grapple with and pay. And then the question is, because it's all interwoven.
Yes.
You deal with this, you deal with the high cost of this, and amidst everything going on, we see that parents are currently even protesting the cost of transportation. People are grappling with the cost of electricity. You buy lights, and before you know, it's 2 days. I hear some people spend band aid, they pay 10,000 naira, and the next thing it's off after 2 days. So it's a whole lot to grapple with. And I think one of our analysts talked about how it's not necessarily such a bad introduction to fintechs, but then coming up, at this time, even if it's 15 naira, some people might say, 15 naira for 10,000, but that 15 naira can buy pure water.
I mean, two of them. Okay,
exactly.
I think back to your question.
And like I said, if you look around, even like if you check now, spaghetti, what's it called? Is there an English term for that? Pasta.
Yeah, pasta.
If you check now, you see that I saw some videos circling online. This may be a little out of context, but it's like I said, it's all interwoven. I saw a video online. I don't know if you saw it, of now people bringing out the spag from the sachet and selling it small. So they are selling it 100 naira now. That's how bad the hunger situation has gotten. So do you I was going to ask, and I'm still going to ask Timmy and Joshua, if there is a way that they would recommend the federal government, look, Nigeria, the government looking for a way to balance the need for revenue generation with the economic strain in the country right now. Because tax is for revenue generation, like our analysts, established. But then how do you balance the need for revenue generation and then in the wake of the hardship going on in the country?
Okay, I think that so just to answer the question very more directly, of course, I think it's not about whether to push more people into poverty. It is already doing that. I mean, the impact already been felt across. First, we had to deal with some 15 months ago. We had to deal with the removal of the first subsidy, for example, and some other, like you mentioned, electricity tariff, and we saw the removal of subsidy on tuition for some, and all of that, and people are paying. So exactly. So you're paying more for everything. And so what you could buy for maybe 100 naira some 15 months ago, you probably have to pay 300% or 400% more, depending on what the actual price is. I mean, I have a personal example. So I was going to use a venue for an event, and so we already spoke with them, and so we went back last weekend, and the price had increased by 95%. And of course, they gave us reasons why the price had to be like that. So a lot of people are already grappling with, and you have a case for education, for example, people having to withdraw. Some of them have to withdraw their wards or their schools from private institutions and put them in government-owned institutions.
They even have money for government.
Yeah, so even that won't come at a cost, because I have a personal experience for government-owned schools in Lagos, for example. Before you can
the boarding fees.
Yes, even for the ordinary ones that are not model colleges, for you to enroll your child, you need to present evidence of your tax clearance. So the Lagos government would demand to see if you're actually paying tax. And I know a lot of people who can't do that. So they have to find some other people to stand in for them as a parent or guardian. That's how much hardship many people have to deal with. So it's a whole lot on the people,
So where do you see, hardship, economic hardship, and then the fact that you're grappling all these expenses? Do you think it ever gets to a point where Nigerians will just be like, you know what? I'm tired. Let everybody just.
No.
I think in the midst of it all, let's just keep hope alive.
Yes, I think Nigerians have this.
Find ways to press.
Elastic ability to adjust to any situation, so they just keep. Yes. And of course, we're very religious people, so people saying, "Oh, to get better, it is well."
I think the current situation has unified. It has defied religion, and whatever it is. Hardship knows no religion or language
But interestingly, Kimberly, there are some people, and some of them even in their millions, who will tell you that the hardship that we now face is necessary. And you hear rhetorics like, oh, nothing good comes easy, or it will get bad, or it will get worse before getting better. You hear other Nigerians themselves who are partaker of this suffering saying that. Maybe just because it supports whoever is in power or a political party.
Well, maybe they haven't started using firewood to cook.
Maybe.
Because if you go to the compounds of those people that are using firewood to cook, they will not tell you that there's light at the end. No, seriously, I've seen that happen. Yeah. And even in modern-looking compounds, you see it happen. People can't afford to buy
they're
gas.
using
the time gas was going
now,
up for as high as how much a kg? I think it was, the price was going up. Even kerosene, the price was even going up.
Even kerosene is it's over 1,000.
Kerosene used to be like the cheap.
Yes. I wanted to purchase it some weeks ago.
But now they are the big boys.
Yes, exactly.
People using the kerosene thing. So, I mean, all right then, Timmy.
Yes.
Okay, so how do you think the government now can balance the need for revenue generation, that's as regards tax, with the current economic strain, among Nigerians and households?
So for me, I feel I've always been an advocate of produce what you consume what you produce. I think government needs to go into production in all sectors, from agriculture to manufacturing to, different sectors. Let us produce. Once we have production points in all sectors, we employ people. People are gainfully employed. And once they are gainfully employed, you are paying them salaries. They are living better. You are providing enabling environment, for SMEs, for businesses. You are giving out loans. You are providing grants. You are reducing taxes, for businesses to thrive, to survive. And once we have those two things, in place, people are gainfully employed. Businesses are working. They are also employing people. They are making profits. Then you can, in the long run, begin to tax them. It is not now that we should, tax this. We are putting the cat before the bag. I mean, the bag before the cat, Yeah. But I think Nigerians I think we are the one that is complaining. Nigerians are happy, actually, because they heard Tinubu during his manifestos and his publicities that is going to reduce our purchasing power.
Okay.
You know, I'm being sarcastic
No,
now.
but that video might have been doctored. To me, that's
And
probably
they
a
still went
doctored
ahead
video.
to vote for him. So I think
No.
he's teaching us management. He's teaching us how to manage, how to cut our coat according to our body, our size, our
No,
pocket.
but the thing is,
So let's keep managing. 2027, we'll vote for him again, and we'll
Timmy, it's
continue
okay
to
be.
be
Can
an
you hear me?
economist by fire, by thunder.
Am I heard at all? Timmy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I said it's okay to be sarcastic, but first of all, he's our president, and secondly, I mean, I've seen the video everywhere, but we know how things can be doctored. Did he actually, Biodun, talks like that?
Yeah.
Did you see it yourself firsthand, Timmy?
Yeah, did I see what
Did you see
myself
the video
first time?
yourself when he was saying it live, or you saw the after video circulating?
Yes,
online?
I studied economics, so I know, and I've read about Tinubu. I've made my research about him. So before now, even Lagos, when he was governor of Lagos, he's a tax man.
Okay, but the thing is,
He's
the
a capitalist.
focus is not on Tinubu. Like you said, taxes, it's a thing across the world. It's not out of place. I think it was Joseph that pointed it out that even foreign companies paying tax to the Nigerian government, it's not out of place. The question is,
I'm not saying
for?
don't tax at all.
Back to the question you answered initially, because I was asking how you think the government can balance revenue generation amid the economic strain, that households are grappling with. So are you saying that, they should focus on being a producing country, like boost productivity in the private sector and not really focus on tax for now? If I get you correctly, that's what you said, Abi?
Now the focus should not be on taxing people. That's what I'm saying. Now the focus should be on how to revive the economy. And how do you revive a dwindling economy? Is by going into agriculture, like mass production, not just subsistence agriculture. Like, I mean, we have land, we have products, we have mineral resources, we have a whole lot of natural resources that we can tap into, and the money is there. But misplaced priority is what is affecting our government right from time. So why not go into mass production, employ people, have people gainfully employed, and once we have this, make our refineries working, make them work. Both the Dangote refineries and our refineries in different places, make them work. And if fuel is available, production is going on, we are satisfied by ourselves. We'll be able to fend for ourselves as a country. Then we can start exporting to different countries to make our naira stronger.
All right.
So this thing it won't work like magic. You can't just tax people and think that the economy will be better.
All right.
Just like that.
Thank you so much. We'll take that as your final words, because we still have to have Joseph, give his 2 cents on the way forward for Nigeria. So in 30 seconds, we need you to sign out. Thank you so much for your time, by the way. So what do you have to say in 30 seconds? Hello,
in 30
Timmy.
seconds?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so finally, I on a very serious note, I believe, these taxes are harsh on the people, and the government needs to redirect their focus on, producing what we consume and consuming what we produce, rather than taxing people that are already down, that are managing, for income generation. The government should review this and make better policies for the betterment of the people.
All right. Thank you so much, Timmy. Thank you. I hope you have a very colorful day today. Thank you for coming on the program.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Right, cheers. Okay, Joseph, over to you. You heard the question I asked Timmy. I talked about balancing revenue generation. And then let's get your final thoughts as well.
Well, we've actually recommended to the government a lot of times. It seems the government does not listen to us. One key thing is the government does not have revenue, and we should stop propagating that agenda that Nigeria is rich. Nigeria is not rich. At this point, Nigeria could not perform its budget. The budgetary performance, if you look at budgets, they have not been able to perform most parts of their budget, which is why the coppers could not get their 70,000 naira wage this year. They pushed it to next year because the government does not actually have any money again. It screams of gross mismanagement and gross corruption. The government doesn't have money as we speak right now. And that's why even when they had the Afri-Exim deal, they mortgaged some 2 years of petroleum barrels that we have not even produced yet for dollars. And they're still borrowing money from IMF almost every day. So they're more or less in debt in the country. The government needs to stop what they are doing right now and try as much as possible to seek revenue in some way. We've mortgaged a lot of our crude oil that we have not produced yet to other people, right? Which is very bad for the economy. So there needs to be a flow. The only way we can have a flow of finance coming to the country is only oil. Oil is actually the major mainstay of our revenue. And the only partner they can partner with at this point in time is only Dangote. It's sad to say, but it's where we've gotten to. We don't have any refinery that's working anymore in the country. Most of the refineries have been, as they are used to borrow more debt. Right? If you look at the financial statement of refineries, most of them are not borrowing. Most of them are paying directors that are not working, which is terrible corruption, right? Which is more wastage. So we need the government to stop all that waste, find a way to bring revenue in, so that they will stop taxing people, because it's a link. It all links together.
It's all connected. Right. So I need you to sign out with a 15 naira levy now, like turning it down all the way down to the recent introduction of levy to fintech. Let's sign out with that. Your final thoughts on that on the program.
So for now, I think that this levy should not hold. The government can use it other means of revenue. It's already taxing people already, so it can just withdraw or suspend this 15 naira levy on POS. It will affect more people. It will affect its financial inclusion drive, and it just needs to rethink its steps and find other ways to make money.
Thank you so much, Joseph Olaoluwa. We do hope you have a very beautiful day today. Enjoy your day. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Abiodun, it's been quite a conversation. Well, Joseph and Timmy are saying that diversify the economy, look for ways to generate funds, and they shouldn't be generate revenue. There shouldn't be such heavy focus on tax, because if you continue with the tax pattern and structure, even firewood will likely become expensive soon.
Yes, if it's not already,
and then we have to rely on the sun to cook if it's not hot enough
or something. Yes, I think that they both made very important points, but again, it's very hard for you to tell those in positions of authority not to engage in a revenue drive, because that's the only way they aim to gain money. But it's just sad the way we go about it in Nigeria. I say that for a reason. Agencies of government that are supposed to be regulatory agencies, for example, agencies in charge of ensuring that our processes go in the way that they should, have all been turned into revenue generating agencies. I'll give you the example of the Nigerian Customs Service that was established for trade facilitation. But every other time you see different zones of the custom declaring profits, monthly profits, quarterly profits. So you begin to ask questions. For a country going through so much economically, you find some agency of government declaring profits in the billion every month. It means that they've diverted from their major aim to doing something else. You find the same thing with NAFDAC or the Standard Organization of Nigeria and so many others. Everybody's just on a revenue drive. So that should not be the focus. I think that, like many people have called for, if those in government can reduce their own lifestyle and not think of purchasing certain items or amenities for themselves, or
even encourage productivity.
Exactly. So why? So I mean, exactly. So
and allow even if you're being extravagant, like some people would say, it's you just allow people in the private sector
to
play comfortably,
by creating an enabling environment.
And
exactly.
Not put everyone on the choke.
Imagine, so if you needed the money for something, now imagine how much maybe classrooms the new private jets would have gotten many Nigerian students, for example. So that's one thing.
All right, then we'll wrap it up at this point on Spotlight today, and it's I've been Kimberly Obiebo, your host, still am, and we'll be back here tomorrow, same time, 8 to 9 a.m. Abiodun Adekunle is my co-host. a current affairs program. Be a part of it as always. The conversation continues online. This is Super FM 92.7. Stay tuned to the rest of the day's broadcast.
92.7
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7 FM.
One family. One radio. 92.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7